Putting on some chapstick. Happy Friday, everybody. I am feeling the vibes today. What is going on in the cosmos? Because, man, this is a high energy day. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to welcome you into this space. Please say hello if you're jumping on. I am just checking in to make sure that all is well and good in the technology department. So, any of you who are new to Cosmic TV, welcome. This is Therapeutic Wisdom from the Akash. I am live every Friday at 2:15 Eastern, 11:15 a.m. Pacific time. And Cosmic TV is full of goodness like this. It's full of shows like this. It's full of films from conscious filmmakers. It's full of courses. And you're going to find all the information that you need for your spiritual and metaphysical journey on Cosmic TV Network here on Facebook or cosmictelevision.com. You can also find it in the App Store. So many convenient opportunities. You can also follow Cosmic Television on Instagram. So if you guys are here, say hello, please, because I want to know if the comments are working, because a lot of times Facebook comments are not working super well. So that way I can close up my phone and give you guys my undivided attention this Friday afternoon. I hope it's a beautiful day wherever you are, and I would love to know where you are because it's so cool to be able to bring in the different vibes of the weather and the different locations on the planet so that we can all connect. Hi, Layla. Thank you so much for saying hi so that I know the comments are working. Yay. See, now I can put my phone down and be less distracted, which is lovely for all of us, right? So my name is Laura Mazzotta, and I am an Akashic therapist. That means that I've been a therapist for almost 20 years, and I'm also an Akashic healer and teacher. So I teach the Akashic Records to as many people as will listen, and I also assist lightworkers with diving in super deeply to heal these chronic repeating patterns in their life, either in their mental health, in their relationships, in their physical health, or in their mindset, okay? And it is the most efficient and effective form of healing. So let's get today started. We are talking about shame and blame. So I'm sure that if you are here, this is something that is relevant to you. And I believe that every single one of us in human form have experienced shame and blame. We've experienced blaming others. We've experienced being blamed. We've experienced shaming others. We've experienced shaming ourselves, right? And so this is something that actually came forward in the conversation with my Akashic Records certification students the other night in our program. And it was so beautiful the way that just naturally unfolded. And this space, I even did a story on it on my Instagram because this space of the certification program has just become even more intuitive. I mean, it's just getting closer and closer, more and more of an intimate community, more connections and supporting one another. And it's so exciting to see some of these insights that come forward from the Akash for different people or in different forms. Hi, Lisa. Thanks so much for saying hi. Welcome. And that's why I know it's so important for more and more people to access the Akash. That's why I have a free video on my YouTube channel so that people can access what the Akashic Records are, how to open them, and how to start bringing through information, right? And how to start understanding how it integrates with your unique energy. Because the Akashic Records interact with everybody's unique energy in a different way. And so we all learn new little nuances of how we can use this space, the more people that really open themselves up to receiving the call, right? Because it's not something you seek, it's something that really finds you, okay? So anyway, that was a little aside, shocker, but we were talking about this shame and blame concept, right? Because shame is something that comes up really commonly in lightworkers. And it also comes up a lot in anybody who has chronic symptoms of any kind. Again, whether that's mental health or physical health or cognitive, like in your mindset, right? So shame comes up a lot because it's this, you're getting these repeated symptoms that are coming forward because you feel like you still need to do something else to become whole. You feel like you need to say something else, act a certain way, engage in a certain way to fully be good enough. Okay? That's where that comes from. You don't feel completely vital, you don't feel completely well or completely invigorated because you feel like there's puzzle pieces that are missing, right? And that's what happens when shame and blame are running as a program in the background on a daily or regular basis, even just a consistent basis for a long time. Okay, when that happens, what it does is it starts to wear us down to the point where we think, do I even belong here? Do I really even fit in anywhere? How do I as a puzzle piece fit into the puzzle piece of the collective? Or I always feel like there's at least one puzzle piece missing from within my physical body, within my physical experience, whether that's emotional or cognitive or energetic. And I need to find that piece in order to feel whole, right? So these are the things that come forward when shame and blame have been a program that have been working in the background. So anyone here live or on the replay, how brave are you to admit that this is something that has been running in the background? I know it ran in the background for me for years, for years. And I know even shame still comes up from time to time as I continue to become more seen, as I become more vocal, as I become more authentic, as I become more vulnerable and I share my heart more and I put myself out there and I share these really exposed stories about my life to assist other people with being able to understand themselves better and to see these patterns in themselves. I know that that comes up, and it doesn't mean that I'm holding on to it consciously, right? It's not like I'm choosing to shame myself or to think about it, but it makes me realize that there's still energetic cords there. And I firmly believe that we work through these things long term, over and over again when they're really deep seated. And they're really deep seated when they come from our ancestors, our past lives, and aren't just things that we've experienced in our relationships or situations or scenarios that have unfolded in this lifetime. Hi, Anne. Happy Friday, honey. Carrie, how are you guys doing? And you totally need to join the Akashic Sangha. Seriously. Because our group is so freaking amazing and you would fit right in with the personalities there as well. Like Carrie jumped on. I was just like, oh my gosh, you two together, like right next to each other. You guys would get along so well. I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, Anne, oh my gosh, you need to jump in. Anyway, so the Akashic Sangha is my monthly Akashic membership group for those of you who don't know. So anyway, so back to shame and blame. So we talked about what it is. We talked about what it looks like. It can come up as those chronic patterns. This is the thing. I find that a lot of people don't even recognize that these patterns are going on because they're running in the background. And so they just think, well, I'm just like a really emotional person, or I'm just somebody who has rages, or I'm somebody who needs to tantrum from time to time, or I'm somebody who just has to deal with chronic illness, or I'm somebody who I get sick a lot, these things that keep coming up, or I'm just somebody who, like, for some reason, I cannot get along with people. Hi, Tammy, good to see you. So it's a pattern in any area of your life. It could also be victim mindset can come into play here too. Like, oh, I've been dealt a rough hand of cards, or, I can't seem to get ahead of myself, whether it comes to money or it comes to keeping a job or things like that, right? And so you head into that mindset, okay? So this is the thing. I was even talking to one of my team members the other day. We had an amazing conversation about this piece too. So this was like a precursor to what we even talked about in the Akashic Records certification program. But we were talking about like that both of us have the same pattern where it's like, yeah, we have that one day a month at least where we're like, like or we have to like tantrum it out or rage it out or whatever, right? We don't always need to know why we need to do that. What that is, my friends, is it's your inner child needing to release. It's your inner child that's feeling shamed. It's your inner child that is blaming other people or other scenarios or other, the deck that you've been dealt. So you could blame the universe, right? And there's a lot of that going on. And what it does is it takes away our power, right? It takes away our power when we do that. Hold on, let me just. Take care of the spammer. Okay. Cool. Done. Spammer gone. Happy Friday. You're welcome. It just takes a minute. Okay, so that's the thing. Like, we really need to realize that, and this takes practice, my friends. Like, it's not something that you want to continue to experience, or to, I guess I should say, feel hard on yourself if you don't do it right away. Okay, it can take some time. So be aware of the fact that it takes 21 days to make a habit. So if you commit to it every single day for 21 days, it's going to become automatic for you, and then you're not going to have to think about this anymore, right? So for you, it's being able to, hi Shionda, thank you so much for being here. Welcome. And we have 11 people watching, such a sacred number here on Friday. So it's important for you on a daily basis, if these are patterns that are coming up for you and you're realizing that it's your inner child that's having this tantrum, that you practice tuning in. You practice tuning into your inner child. What is it that you need today? What is it that you desire today? And sometimes it could be, I need to release something, or I need to scream it out, or I need to play today, or I need to rest today. And so it's being able to connect with that inner child and getting that information. But also, anytime a negative thought comes up, anytime a negative feeling or an off feeling comes up for you, you do not have to sit there and analyze it. You can also just realize, oh, this is a cue. This is a cue from my inner child that it needs some soothing, or that it needs some attention, right? And again, this is going to take time. It's not something you're automatically going to think about. In fact, automatically, you're going to start either criticizing yourself or thinking about tools you can use to get rid of it. And I like that you're using tools to get rid of it. But I also know that when it gets patterned like this, it's important for you to dig a little bit deeper, okay? Because otherwise the pattern's just going to continue, okay? So give me a second to get a drink of water. This is especially helpful, and a great step for this is when you want to curse somebody out, or when you want to blame somebody else. And you're like, oh, I can't believe this jerk. Like, he came home today and he was like in such a bad mood, and he just ruined the whole mood of the house. Well, he doesn't have that kind of power, right? He doesn't have the power to ruin the mood of the house. So you're blaming him for coming in and ruining things, right? And so that's your inner child that's reacting to a pattern that it's used to. And this pattern that it's used to, like I said earlier, could be something in this lifetime. It could be something in a previous lifetime. It could be something that exists as a pattern in your ancestry. And so instead for you, it's being able to say, oh, I get to decide. I choose to stand in my solidarity. I choose to stand in my happy space, because that's only going to help everybody else. So it's a real belief in that concept, right? That we are a ripple effect, and we have a ripple effect on other people energetically by staying in a high vibration. And that when you decide to do that, you're standing in your own authority more. And then you are leading and guiding your inner child reliably in a way that it will trust you more, in a way that it will feel safer, right? Because it's very challenging for us to do this work, this shame work that's very, very deep, unless our nervous system and our inner child feels super, super safe, super, super grounded, super, super held. Okay, this is exactly why Daisy Farrell and I, she's a psychic medium, we're doing a free masterclass tomorrow, actually, called Held. And it's an inner child masterclass. And it's for that reason, because there's so many people out there who, they might have glimmers of awareness. They might have glimmers of insights into some of these patterns, or some of this underlying dialogue of shame and blame that's going on underneath that they might not even recognize, right? And so it's being able to say, you don't even have to have awareness yet. That's okay. But once we start to stir up that awareness, let's make sure you're held. Let's make sure you're feeling like you have a strong foundation and you're grounded and you're comforted and you're surrounded and you're not in this alone. Because the inner child in particular requires and desires an enormous amount of belonging. I don't know if any of you ever took psychology in school. Hi, Diane. I'm so happy to have your energy here with me. I love you, my friend. So in school, if any of you took psychology, you may have heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'm going to type it in because you guys can Google it if you want. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So this is something, I actually learned this in undergrad, not even grad school. We talked about it a little bit in grad school, but so Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a triangle, okay? And in this triangle, at the bottom, these are your most basic needs, okay? And what Maslow, who was a psychologist, what he understood, actually, he might have been a sociologist, to be honest with you. He's an ist, either way. He's a researcher, that's for sure, and a pioneer of his time. So he talks about the fact that you cannot move up in this hierarchy of needs until you have accomplished the steps underneath it, right? And this is actually one that I believe in because there's a lot of theorists out there who require certain steps like Erickson's stages of development and stuff. And I don't think that you need to do them in a stepwise progression. You know, I like being the rebel and saying we can all do it in our own way, right? But with Maslow, the bottom is like, you know, food, air, water, shelter, right? Your basics, okay? But then belonging and love are huge. They're down there closer to the bottom, my friends. And so for us to feel like we're literally, our survival depends on it, right? I don't know if you guys have ever seen those studies. I don't know why all these studies are coming into my mind today, but I don't know if any of you have seen those studies with the monkeys, right? They did these studies with the monkeys where they had monkeys who were connected to physical touch, and it didn't even have to be their mom, okay? It was even like a dummy that they had there. But they had this physical touch and this feeling of belonging, like they were part of something, right? And they were able to survive, whereas the ones that even had, then they had ones without food and water, and they were still able to survive. And then they had ones that had the food and water, but did not have the belonging and the love. And they perished. They were not, or they developed disease, and they were showing signs of malaise and things like that. So this concept of physical touch, this concept of belonging, of being part of something, is absolutely wired into being a physical being on this planet. Okay, it is absolutely a part of us. And so if there's any aspect of our inner child that did not receive that in our past, in our history, or in a past life, that gets followed energetically through our lives. All of the research shows that trauma gets passed down by a minimum of 3 generations. This has been shown time and time again with people who have been in the Holocaust or have had people in their family in the Holocaust, right? So it's you being able to prioritize, you being an authority for yourself. If you're a light worker, great. Yes, you can be an authority for your business. If you're an entrepreneur, great. Be an authority for your business. If you're a parent, great. Be an authority for your children. Most importantly, and sometimes often the most challenging, is to be an authority for yourself, right? And to decide. Just like Brené Brown talks about, she talks about shame a lot. How many of you have read Brené Brown? Tell me which book you've read in the comments, or which one your favorite Brené Brown book is. Because those people who are interested in reading to assist them with the shame concept will be very helped by that, that feedback, right? But she talks about courage. She talks about confidence, and she talks about connection as the ways to heal shame, right? And those are our basics. You know, this is about feel the fear and do it anyway, right? Do the things anyway, even if you're feeling the fear. Have that connection to someone or something. It could be a pet. Okay, but cultivate connection in some way. You don't have to talk about your deepest, darkest. Just cultivate connection, right? And confidence. Daring greatly. Thank you, Brenda. That's a great one. That's a great one. She's got so many books now, right? Like I can't even keep track of how many she has and how many titles there are, but every single time I see them, I'm like, oh yes, I love that one. Oh yes, I love that one. Brené Brown is wonderful with bringing that that shame research and shame guidance into moving through these things. But I'm telling you that the core of both of these issues, shame and blame, they go together 100%. And they are a result of a wounded inner child every single time. I promise you. And so for you, it's about, how do I start just getting curious? If that's the only thing you take from this live today, is how do I cultivate more of a relationship with my inner child, or even like be aware of my inner child, which is really just an energetic entity that exists below your belly button in your sacral space, right in the womb area. And what is that area? That's an area of creation. That's an area of passion. That's an area of excitement. It's an area of expansion and feminine power. And even if you don't identify as a female in this lifetime, that's fine. We all have a mix of masculine and feminine energies that we can call upon to be able to move forward and become our best selves and become really fulfilling of our soul's purpose, right? So that's the place that our inner child resides. So one of the things you can do is just decide, I'm going to choose to be creative more often. I'm going to choose to be creative once a week. And creativity doesn't mean you're going to sit down and paint and glue and, stick and paste, right? It also can mean, how do I think outside of the box? How do I think differently about how I can make this day easier for me? How do I get creative about loving myself more? How do I get creative about nurturing myself and becoming a reliable foundation for myself and my inner child on a more consistent basis? How can I tap into that consistent belonging and connection? Because that's one of the things that I've learned. I was in therapy on and off for most of my life. And now I have so many spiritual communities that I'm part of. I'm always feeling held. In the Akashic Records, I'm always feeling held. I never feel alone, ever anymore. Ever. And it used to be that even if I was surrounded by everyone I loved, I had this sense of like emptiness or a void, or there was something missing within me, which is a very common feeling for starseeds, for people who are really here to do this work, right? I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know that for a long time. And so it's really nice to have that awareness and just to be able to say, okay, this is interesting. Now that I know this, I know that I'm somebody who needs to push the envelope just a little bit outside of my comfort zone to step into that courage a little bit more, who needs a consistent container to be held in. That could be a group. It could be a family. It could be a circle of friends. It could be a Bible study. It could be a book group. It could be a support group. It could be therapy. It could be coaching, right? There's so many different things it could be. And sometimes it's people's workplace. Sometimes they feel that way with their workplace, which is amazing, right? But it's allowing yourself to feel like you're couched in something, like you're held in something. Okay. And that provides you with the safety and the foundation to be able to release this shame and blame, to be able to stand solidly in an area where when you release that blame, then this shame can come in more, because you've been putting all of this energy and this blame onto someone else or something else to partly avoid responsibility, full responsibility for what you're feeling and experiencing. But when you're a masterful creator, when you are a divine creator and you are using information from divine intelligence in the universe to manifest your life and to move forward in your life and to live your best life, you need to take responsibility for everything. And it empowers you. And I remember when this concept was first brought forward to me, and I felt like I was being blamed. Well, I didn't choose to have a chronic illness, and I didn't choose to get sepsis, and I didn't choose to have anxiety, and I didn't choose, right? And that was me just being in my victim mentality, okay? The fact is, I've created all of it. And the fact is, I can choose to create differently. I can just decide differently. So you can decide right now, I am going to choose to do this creative thing once a week, or I'm going to choose to step into my passion a little bit more outside of my comfort zone than I'm used to teach myself, to communicate to my energy and to the universe that I am no longer available for sitting in a disempowered space. I am no longer available for that. Why? Because I am worthy of more. And because, you know what? the people out there and the world out there deserves me at my brightest. They deserve me at my brightest. They deserve me as my most authentic, because guess what? There is somebody else out there who feels the same way you do, and they need somebody to feel like they can belong with. They need somebody to feel like they can connect with. And if you don't show up and you don't shine your light, then they're going to continue feeling that way. They'll find it if they decide to, right? But how much of a beautiful service is it for you to show up authentically and show other people that there's a wide range of people on this planet for a reason, so that we all feel like there's a place we belong, right? And if we all opened our hearts and we're able to see that literally, yes, 100%, there is somebody out there on this planet of 7.67 billion people that you connect with and feel a sense of belonging with. 100%, at least one, guaranteed. So how do you find them? You release the blame, you release the shame, and you stand authentically in your power. You stand authentically in who you are. You connect with the most deeply wounded part of who you are, which is your inner child. And it doesn't have to be a big sob fest every time, okay? It can be enjoyable. You guys can just play. And this is work that this was so beautiful about this work too, is that it's long lasting. Like, you do it and you're good. And then you'll need to revisit the inner child again, but it's going to be like cake going forward, because that relationship now has a foundation, because you've been consistently connecting. It's just like if you talk to your teenager, right? And you've been working 500 hours a week. And I know there's 500 hours in a week. You've been working to the nth degree, or you've been gone and traveling and out and about, and you haven't been home for a month really much. And you've communicated some, but not a ton. And you come home and your teenager says a curse word. And you're like, you're not allowed to say that. No, 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 no. And they look at you like, who the hell are you to tell me that? You've been gone for a month. You've been absent. You haven't been here, right? And it doesn't mean that you shame yourself for not being around, but it's like, yeah, that's actually a good point. Like, our foundation is not as solid as it was. Let's firm up our foundation, and then your teenager is going to be more responsive to you. When you talk to a teenager and you say to that teenager, you need to do this, this, and that, it's like, yeah, right? Because they want to like develop their own sense of identity, and they're like, not sure about that one, my friend. I want to spite you. I want to kind of see how much I can get away with. Very normal adolescent developmental thinking, right? But if you show interest in the adolescent, if your adolescent is a super video game player and you're like, I am so sick of hearing about freaking Call of Duty or Halo or what the hell they're talking about, I can't even keep my head on straight, right? They are not going to be invested in responding to you if you are not invested in them. Get information about what this teenager is like, how they think, how they tick. Create that connection. Show a really true interest. So this is the same thing I'm saying about the inner child. Show a consistent, regular interest. Cultivate a relationship. Ask your inner child. Give your inner child a voice. Let your inner child decide what they want to do, what they want to say, how they want to act, how they want to feel, where they want to go. Okay? Cultivate the relationship, secure it, and then your inner child, in 5 years or 10 years, if you want to do this work again, or if you need to dive in and clear and heal, your inner child's going to jump to attention and be like, yeah, absolutely, I'm there for you. You're there for me, I'm there for you. Right? Okay. This became like Preacher Woman Friday. It's just like going on a roll. All right, guys. So seriously, sign up for this this free masterclass tomorrow called Held. This is the solution. And I highly encourage you, if this resonated in any way, shape, or form, to start this process, okay? Even if you started it already, allow yourself an opportunity to be held in spiritual community, in a safe space, in the Akashic Records, so that this is a time that you set aside for yourself tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern for an hour to an hour and a half, and say, I am going to begin this. I am deciding that I'm going to begin this commitment to myself, to my inner child, to releasing shame and blame, to taking my power back, to owning my responsibility, so that I can see how much freaking light exists underneath it that the planet is eager for. Okay? So the comment is pinned to the top of the comments for you guys to sign up for Held. Again, it's a free masterclass. You can't go wrong. You'll have the replay access as well for a period of time. So just enroll. You're going to get then access to the Facebook group. So you can sign up and then jump into the Facebook group. And then we're going to let everybody into the Facebook group just before the masterclass on Saturday. Okay? And then we'll dive in. We'll be nice and yummy together tomorrow. I'm so excited. And I'm so excited to be in this just super loving space with everybody. This is stuff that I need too. We all need this. You know, every workshop or masterclass or download that I bring through the AKASH, again, is brought through the AKASH. Why are they communicating it to me versus some other light worker or some other coach or somebody else? Because it's relevant to my energy as well. It's relevant to my energy as well. And I receive benefit from being there with you as well. So I'm very looking forward to being with you all tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, or having you take advantage of the energy on the replay. And let me know if you guys have any questions that are coming up as you're watching this on the replay. You can type #replay. Just feel free to tag me, because if you tag me, then I definitely see comments. And if you don't, sometimes I miss them. Also, I didn't mention this earlier in this live, but if you guys are watching on Emerge Healing and Wellness or in another group, I'm not going to see your comments live. So don't think I'm ignoring you, but I will return to those after the live. So anytime you want to chat with me live, just jump over to the Cosmic TV page, because that's where we can hang out while I'm here on Fridays. All right. So I will see you next Friday at 2:15 p.m. Eastern. Have a beautiful weekend, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye.